Good morning. Welcome to another episode of Papa's Workshops. These are for Adam, Brady, Luke, and Brenna. But before we get started today, we need to check in with my assistant. Well, there's Molly. He's right here by the bench. She wants to get into the action, right? Can you say hi to everybody? Today, we're still doing the joinery for the lower case so we can glue it up. And so today we're going to start on the dovetails for the bottom, and then we'll do the top to the sides of the case. And I've already laid out one here. Okay, we got these laid out for the bottom. There's 1,000 ways to do dovetails, and there's books written about it, magazine articles, the whole deal. So, and I've done videos on it before, so we're not going to spend a lot of time. I do the tails first, which is these. The narrow part has to be removed. So I'm going to take the handsaw and cut on all those lines, and then we'll chisel out the space. I'll just update as we go. All right, we got all the saw cuts done, and I just want to mention, this is the case. It's a blind dovetail, so the only way you can see these are in the bottom, and that's going to be against the frame, so these are not going to be seen at all. So don't spend a lot of time. I mean, I'm just making the saw cuts, and the angle is not important at all. They can be different. You can see probably some of them here I didn't quite hit the line. There's one I went too far, but like I said, you don't have to be perfect. The only thing doing the tails first, the only thing that's important is that this has to be square. I mean, it has to be perpendicular to the case side. And here's one where I missed the line, so I'll have to trim that. But otherwise, you can usually go down and look and see if these don't look parallel. There's one of them's off. So, and I just used my whole little homemade gauge, and books have said that you're supposed to use 1:8 ratio for hardwoods and 1:6 for softwoods. But I've found that looking at these old pieces, that they're all over the place, and I suspect that the established craftsmen on the case especially probably didn't even use a gauge. They just did it by sight. I mean, they started at age 13 as an apprentice, working like 12, 16-hour days, 6-7 days a week. So you get pretty good at it. So anyway, so I got to chop those out, and then we'll be able to do the other side. All right, I got the tails all cut out. I think I went a little too crazy. I should have made the tails a little bit bigger. These are 1 inch. I should have made them like 1.25 inches. I had a few less. But good practice. It's not going to show at all. So now we need to lay out the pins on the side. And that's where most people have problems with dovetails, is transferring the tails to the pins or vice versa. So, but that's the next step. Okay, we're getting ready to transfer the dovetails to the case side, and so I've got it lined up. It had just a little bit of a bow in this piece, so that's what this clamp is. I mean, it's only like 1/16 of an inch, but that's enough to get the lines. So you can see in there the scribe line right there. So we need to get that all lined up, and then of course we need to get this front edge lined up. So I'm just letting gravity hold that, and I've got these 2 bricks that I use just as weights. So that's kind of giving us the friction hold, and I just kind of tap it with this to get it in position. So now it's just a matter of taking the knife and marking all those spots. And of course, I got my assistant is watching me diligently to make sure I get it right. All right, so I got the dovetails, the pins laid out and cut. See, I used just take the saw and make that cut. And now I'm going to take and use a Forstner bit and remove most of that waste there. And then we'll have to chisel it down. There's a quick look at what it is with that. So now we just need to chop that out. That just makes it quicker to get there. All right, I got the, it's fit, but it's a little too tight at this end is just plain tight. See, it's almost flush down there, but I've been hitting it. It's going down, but it's mighty tight. So I may need a little bit more work. But anyway, we're there. So now I got to do the top. All right, we got the front dovetails done. See, we still have to cut the 45. So we still have several things we have to do before we can glue up. We got all the dividers in the desk, what I'm calling the gallery of drawers. We got all the dividers that have to have dados in the top and the side. We've also got to put 45s on our blades, so we'll probably do that next. All right, here's one of the blades. What we need to do is the bead that's going to be applied to the case is going to come in like that. So we need to put a little 45 right there and on both sides. So we need to do that on the desktop, the two blades, and the bottom, just those little 45s. And we only need to go back 3/4 of an inch or so. That's about the size of the bead, the applied bead. And so what I'm going to do is we're just going to lay this down and take a block and just clamp that up with the line. That'll be a guide for the chisel, and we'll just chisel that off of there. So we got all those places to do that on. All right, that's the way it looks when it's done. So we just went back a little ways, just enough for the bead. All right, we did the two little dados for the drawers, the dividers for the drawers in the desk gallery. So just used a guide and then the router, and those. I just got to do the other side. All right, we're going to round out the beads finally before we glue up. And I see I've started this one here, and that's where we start out with. We can't see that with the shadow here. Let's see there. So that's we start out with the square, and so we just need to round it off. And I do that with a little scraper tool here, and it goes pretty quickly. Let's see if we can't get a view here. And you got to work your way downhill and with the grain of the wood. See, so that goes pretty quick. So we're going to do that on all the beads and get them ready for when I get the hinges, and we can do the 45 on the desktop, and then we can glue. Except for the top, I'm going to wait. We'll get everything else glued up, and then we can figure out the dividers for the gallery of drawers before I glue the top. All right, we still don't have the hinges, so I'm going to go ahead and do some more things here. We have to do the joinery for the gallery dividers for the drawers that go into the top of the chest. And it has the gallery has a base. It's 5/8 thick, so I went ahead and got that just glued up, 2 boards, since we're only going to see the front edge of this. And I made 2 templates, one for the drawer front, which is the red line there. And then this one is the actual front of the gallery trim. So this is kind of just identical to what we did on the frame of the base assembly. So we'll cut to that, close to that line with a bandsaw. Actually, I may just take a Forstner bit and drill those too. Anyway, I get it close, and then we use the template to route the final shape, and then we use the a decorative bit. It's going to be like this. So that's kind of what the trim will look like. So we'll do that after we got the shape there. So I cut this to length. I dry assembled the case, again, enough to test fit this. And then I just tacked on 2 strips at the end that are equal to the dovetails. So I've got to do these matching dados. We got 2 at 3/4 and 2 at 1/2. But I need to match those in the top as well. So I got them both the same length, so I can do setups and on the router table and do both pieces and get them perfectly aligned. And the dado's got to stop before the drawer front. They actually stick out a little bit, but what we need the dado to be shy of that, and we'll trim it. So we can do the fit exactly. So that's going to be the challenge with that. And after we get the dado's done while it's still square, then we'll work on the front edge. All right, got the dados done in the gallery base and the top. And I went ahead and used the Forstner bit and did those. So now I just, on the bandsaw, cut between those lines and straighten out that edge. All right, I cut it out on the bandsaw to close to the line, and then I used double-sided tape, taped the template there, and just routed it. So now I got to clean up, I got to sharpen the corners, get the burn marks off of there, and we'll be ready to put the decorative edge on. All right, so we got the decorative edge done on there, so now I need to go and sharpen those corners, get the burn marks out of there. I got one corner done here at the other end, so I just got 2 more to go. And then we'll probably wait till we get to the assembly part to worry about getting the length of that dado right. So, onward. All right, we got that piece pretty much done. Of course, Molly's here watching, well, sort of watching. Anyway, this is kind of just dry fit in there. I don't have the pieces here for the desktop. This would be where our well is. So all of our dividers and drawers will be following that same profile up to the top. So we've pretty much done everything we can until we get the hinges so that I can get this exact position to cut the corners. The thing is, we have to have the hinges when the lid is open. It's got to miss this bead too, because it's going to be flush with this when it's open. So we got a few things to work out. I kind of like to have the hinges that I'm working with that we can get it exactly right. But anyway, we're making progress. We got all the, I guess we can go and sand everything down on the inside to ready for finish up until we get that side cut. All right, we got the hinges, and I made the mortises for the hinges, and the hinges get in there barrel up, and so I made it flush, and then it's right at, I don't know if you can see that there, right in this edge is the center of the barrel. And I made a test piece to make sure I got the right distance in, so that it's, you know, pretty close to being equal there, but still lets it go down. So I got that set, and the mortise is in, and tested it. And so basically when it's at 45, we just have about a 1/16 of an inch there at the edge of the thing. So that raises me up just a little bit from where I was, but not much. So I went ahead and cut on the miter saw. I cut it close to the line. See, there's the line, but I still have some room. I'll take with the plane and we'll clean that up. And I think I'll wait till we do the actual lid, and we'll just refine it at that point. So now with this point here, more or less there, we can, there's going to be a 45 on the top of the case here, this top. There'll be a 45 that matches that all the way across. We can do that and clean things up a bit, and then we'll glue up. But we won't glue the top just yet, because we still have the gallery stuff to work on. And the well, I got to get the well finished before we can do the, you know, put the gallery in place permanently. So I'm not sure how we're going to do that. So we got to finish the well door, I guess, put finish on it, because I think it's going to be trapped once it's in there and the gallery's in place. So things to work out. I've not done a desk before, so this is all new. All right, we started the glue up. I'm going to do this in stages. I got the bottom glued, and I'm going to let that sit for a little bit. Get it square, or keep it square, and then we'll do the. I've got one of the blades in there just dry fit, so I had something to clamp the top with, or the bottom with. So then we'll glue all those front pieces on, and then we'll let that dry, or at least set up good, because we're going to put the stuff up against it from the back tight. So we don't want that to move once we start doing that. So I got other things we can do. We've got the in this little bracket here is going to be the applied bead, and I'm going to take the two triangle pieces from the sides and cut strips off of this for each side, and we'll be able to do the applied beads once this is dried up. So I'm being awful cautious because I just haven't done this with the desk before. So, you know, I hate to all this work getting all those rabbits and stuff and the beads done. You don't want to mess it up at this point. All right, we got the front glued up, and it's set for a while. I got the lid support frame in place and glued, so that's all set. I did the bottom blade, and what you want to do is because the case is going to move, right? This is going to expand this way, and the rail is not. So it's only glued at the front mortise and tenon, not on the side and not on the back. And then we glue the back piece in place. So then as the side contracts and expands, it's going to move, you know, this space will change. And that way the side won't crack. And the same with the center one, we only glue it on the front. So we got to do that now on this middle one. Then the desktop pieces have to go in. All right, we got it all glued up. So there's the desktop with the hole in it, and I got the blades or lid supports. So it's all looking good. So now we can do any number of things. We can work on the front drawers now that the frame is done. Of course, we got the gallery to work on. The top is not glued, it's just set there, so we can work on that. And we've got to work on the well. What we're going to do is take a router and knock off that top edge all the way around. And then the bottom part of the tongue and groove will serve as our rail for the door. And so we've got to do that before we do anything with the top. Yeah, lots of work. And then we got, of course, the lid itself, the desk lid, and we'll do work on the lid supports at the same time, because we've got to work out several things. We got to miss this bead when the lid is flat, and you know the lid supports, as they come out, they're going to sag a little bit, so we need to have some way to be able to support that so that it stays level. So we got those things to work out. So anyway, I think we'll let this sit overnight and we'll go from there.